Hi, my name is Janie and this is my week 1 content video. So my personal beliefs are that I believe that reading early on is a very important part of closing the word gap that we face in the US. I believe that reading things that interest us, give us passion that spark, and help us create the people we are today. I believe that reading can be intimidating, especially for students who have not been exposed to it. Those students need to have some sort of joy behind it in order to create a habit of it. It is important that students pick the books they are allowed to read so that they get exposure the way they may not have had. When I was looking at the theorists, these 3 people really did have beliefs that I share with them. So the first one is Aristotle, and he believed that learning occurs when a person makes internal connections between things. Teachers should focus on strengthening connections before, during, and after reading. One reason why I believe that this quote or this person really relates to my teaching philosophy is because of how it talks about its weakness. It says students may have a home life that prevents them from understanding how understanding different things. I believe it's important to make connections, but also to explain what things mean so that students are able to make connections. Since part of my philosophy is closing the word gap, I believe that Aristotle hits the mark on this philosophy. Dewey was the next one. He believes in a problem-based learning approach, focusing on developing abilities such as reasoning and decision-making based on students' curiosity and personal interests. I believe this fits into my personal philosophy because students need to be reading and doing things that interest them. If they are not doing so, they are not learning. The last one is Vygotsky, and he believed that learning is a result of children's social interactions with other people and the tools that a child's culture provides in supporting their thinking. I believe this supports my philosophy because we need to meet students where they are at and scaffold their knowledge. I also like the idea of cross-age reading and reading buddies. Not only is it good for the students to hear a peer read fluently, it is important to have a higher student learn how to teach another student. I think that teaching is a very important skill to have. So when I am bonding with my students, I do this quite often with my job since I am a substitute and I work at the same school district 5 days a week. But when I am starting my own classroom, I plan on sending out a questionnaire to them, and it really does depends on grade 8 or the grade level, and depending on what type of questionnaire I would give out to them. For the younger ones, I would do more of have them draw a picture of their favorite things rather than being able to write about their favorite things, just because that's not age appropriate. As for the older grades, I would like to have them be more in detail about how they learn, the best way that they like to learn, just so I can get to know a little bit more about them and kind of cater their learning to each individual student. As for bonding with students, I let them know my boundaries, such as my personal space. I let them know how I expect them to be with me and my body, and how they need to respect my body, and how I will also do the same for theirs. I think this is really important for students because students in our classroom will be sexually abused or abused in some sort of way, and knowing that they're safe and that they have these boundaries at school will help them be able to learn in an environment that they may not be used to at home. I let them know about things that how they make me feel, and I feel like being transparent allows for students to respect me, and that they know I will also respect them. Like I said, I'm a substitute, and I actually go over these rules every time I'm in a classroom just for them to know what to expect. So, my first rule that I always give them is safety. If their body is safe, then I can follow all of my other rules. If they are not safe with their bodies, then I may have to um, touch their body, like make them safe in a way that is obviously appropriate, but just let them know what's going on. I have a song, and my rule number 2 is I go over the song, We Don't Talk About Bruno, and I change the lyrics to We Don't Poke or Tap Miss Edel, no, no, no. Um, I let them know that it's important to ask for consent before they touch another person, whether it be me or another classmate, and to know that they have those same rules for other people when they are around their own body. Um, I let them know that I love hugs, but I also need them to ask for permission because sometimes they ask for them at inappropriate times, such as during a lesson or something, but I want them to know they still do love them and I want them to feel comfortable with coming to me for those types of things, but it needs to be okay with me and okay in the situation. Um, I found that students really did. I built the strongest connections after I enforced that rule because I noticed I was getting very overstimulated when kids would come up and tap and poke me, and it definitely like strained some relationships because I was not really understanding what was bothering me. And then once I figured it out, I was able to strengthen those bond with those students and let them know so that we wouldn't have those types of interactions. And I feel like it's really important for them to hear like how I feel like when a student taps me over and over, it makes me feel like I'm going to explode on the inside. And I let them know that, and I let them know that that's how I self-regulate my body, is to have people not do that to me. And they really do respect it, and it definitely helps me um, with them to let them know that they can come to me with the certain things that they have going on with them, and that I will respect their decisions because I'm being transparent with them and letting them know that I'm just like them. I have certain things that I like and I don't like, and they should be able to come to me when they have things that they like and don't like. I also refer to humor a lot during and while I'm in a classroom. I like to joke around with the kids and being playful and sarcastic. I obviously make sure that everything is not hurting anyone's feelings, but I do like to poke fun and stuff as long as, they're comfortable with it. And that's how I let out just kind of like who I am, and it definitely has made me a lot closer to the students. I also make sure that all my students are treated fairly and include everyone in class discussions. I also make sure that if there is a student that's having a hard time outside the classroom, to have a conversation with them that interests them. I try to have less pressure to have these conversations outside the classroom, and it really does seem to help a student come to me in the classroom when I'm able to build these relationships outside the classroom. And for my classroom community, I believe that a classroom community has to first have great communication. I believe that it's a key for students to understand expectations and know their role in the classroom community. In order to have students have a classroom community run smoothly, I believe that the rules have to be created by the students. I need to have an idea before I have this discussion with the students about what rules I want to implement, and the rules we come up with in the classroom have to reflect the ones that I wanted previously, and also let the students put a spin on things that maybe I didn't think of. I also plan on posting these rules that the students will know to expect, and they can refer to these every day. I also plan to use language and actions that support the rules that I make with the students. I will treat my students with respect and expect them to treat themselves and other people with respect. I believe it's hard to respect others if you don't have respect for yourself. I plan on being direct with my rules and procedures so that students know exactly what is expected of them. And lastly, what I really pulled from the readings this week, I really enjoyed learning about classroom communities. I learned valuable information about how to set up a classroom community. I like how they talked about making your classroom functionable rather than cute. I enjoyed reading about psychologists and how their theories relate to teaching. I have become more and more interested in how the brain works, and I enjoy psychology because I like to know why we do the things that we do and understand it. I also enjoyed reading how to analyze readers. I found helpful tools that I need to look for to figure out where my students are. I like how they pointed out that comparing two students at different levels will help a teacher understand what to look for. I'm excited to see what everyone else has to say. Thank you.